So they gave Leventis motor, they gave UTC motor, they gave credit group, and then Costaris was number 7, Costaris Motors. Wow! That is another revolution. Because it was a seller's market by then. I've been in importation business. We made the profit people who are in drug cannot make. Because you can be selling your goods and people are buying it. You say, hey, wait. No, the price has changed now. The additional amount is, I spoke in tongue now. Somebody can interpret it later for me. That's what tongue is all about. Somebody will interpret it. So, I said, the price has changed. He said, what's the price? I said, the price has been increased by 20. He said, can I have 500 more? He didn't say, let me go and think about it. So, I made those money. I pay tithe in my company. I pay tithe as an individual. I don't question God. If I need to pay ₦1 billion in tax, in tithe, I pay it confidently and without fear because God prospered me to make that money. And this is what my life has been. The reason why I tell you this story is that I'm going to allow you to ask me questions. But the next thing I'm going to ask you is, or you need to ask me, is where is the position of integrity in all of these things we are talking about? And I want to tell you that integrity is number 1, integrity is number 2, and integrity is number 3. If you lose money, you haven't lost anything because you can always make money. If you lose life, you've lost something because you've lost life. Somebody you cannot replace. But if you lose integrity, you are totally bankrupt. You lost everything. Let me tell you in all honesty, it wasn't church that taught me integrity. It's not mosque. But I happened to associate with the Japanese very early stage in my life. Before the fundamentalists started committing suicide, the Japanese commit suicide. If a Japanese made a promise to you, if he cannot meet it, he would take his life. A man I knew, his name is Mr. Machishita. I've been to dining with him and things like that. He was owing some people, and he wrote a letter of apology and said, I'm so sorry that I disappointed you. I couldn't meet up with this commitment, and took a knife and cut himself. That's what integrity means in Japan. They don't write agreement. When people agree, they shake hand, and that sealed the deal. I took a Nigeria to Japan, and was going to Japan, but I can't kill myself. The man said, please kill yourself because you promised. He thought he was a Japanese. He was advising Nigeria. He was advising an Igbo man. The woman was saying, I can't kill myself. I'm doing my brother. So I said, please kill yourself because you promised. Because for a Japanese, it's more honorable to hear that you took your life. Japanese will be happy to hear that the roof caved in and you meet a credit obligation than to tell him the reason why you couldn't meet it is because the roof caved in. You need to work hard to attract suppliers' credit. Suppliers' credit is better than bank loan. Bank loan, interest count, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, public holiday. So, and if you don't have enough capital and go and take a bank loan, it's the easiest way to commit suicide. Because they would have taken your father, your grandmother, your uncle, your sister as a collateral, and you stand up and down and your leg cannot reach down. So, all you need to do is to build your business. As you make money, you invest it back into that business. The problem many of us have is that some women said, my business is cooking food. And cooking food is that he started cooking food. He didn't check how much is the amount of ingredient that is. He said, I'm turning up. Money is coming, money is going. But he can't check every day. How much have I returned to know whether you are making money or not. Let me start concluding by telling you, if you really want to go into business, you need to tax yourself and develop a discipline that is not common. And that is to say, you need to keep record of the things you are doing. With my elementary 3 graduates, I had 4 books that I know is inevitable for me to succeed in my business. When I started, I don't have all the money to hire everybody. I was the managing and damaging director, the forwarding and backward agent. I am the secretary, the A to Z of the company. But what is good is that I keep record of the things I'm doing. It's taxing, but it's important. If I enter a bus, I record the amount of money I spend in the bus. So every day, I can tell you precisely if I have spent 10 naira or 20 naira. And I keep record of it. I call it expenses book. I have another book I call purchase book. Everything I bought or I purchased, I record them in that book, their quantity, their price, and the date I bought them. I have another book I call stock book. This stock book, on it, I will write in, date, out, balance. So when customers are buying things every day, I make sure I issue them receipt. The ones who doesn't need a receipt, immediately I'm giving him the goods. I'm recording what he has bought. Because at the end of the day, I must check and see how much have I been able to sell today. If my sales is 50,000 naira, I need to now take my invoice and record in my sales book everything that I have sold and total it. If that money is 52, if the money in the book here is 48,000 and I have 50,000 in my bank, I start thinking, what did I sold for 2,000? Because I know money doesn't take a wing and fly into my account. There must have been something I sold that I did not record. When I find out, I record it. Then when I finish, I take that sales book. I went to my stock book. Then contact point, Suzuki 100 pieces. I will write today, this. I will minus it. Balance from the 5,000 will become 4,900. If you don't keep this record, if your boy starts stealing from you, you will not know where you are going. Then I have another book I call profit book. Now I have seen the prices I bought the goods. By the time I'm going today, I knew precisely that I have made only 5,000 naira. I go and write it in the profit book. Then I remove the money of my expenses, 500. So my net income was 4,500. At the end of the week, I knew how much I made by the end of the week. I knew in the month how much I made. Because if I don't know, how do I spend money? But the greatest downfall for many people who say they are business people is that everything is in their head. Only goods is in the shop. You don't keep record of what you are doing to be able to know whether you are making progress or you are dying. The things you need to cut. These are prerequisites. They are inevitable. You cannot wish it away. Because if you don't know whether you are making money, you wouldn't know how much tithe you pay. You wouldn't know how you spend money when people come to you to cry, to say they have need. Whether you are giving them your capital or you are giving them from your profit. You can only be wishing them. So it's a must. If you have a petty shop, you buy 100 bread today. There's a place you need to record today, 7th of August, 100 pieces of bread. If by the time you are going home, you have sold only 10, you go there and minus it, you know your balance should be 90. So that by the time you come tomorrow, if that bread is 89, you start asking somebody who took the remaining one out of it. These things are the things I did because that time, I don't know about computer. I wouldn't even know how to operate it. But I did it in this informal way until we built capital to start employing people with skill who can help to take the company to another level. Today we have people with PhDs, people from bank, I took people from bank, from Lafarge, from different places to work for us today at Coscharis. It's a small company we started with only 200 naira. Under 43 years, we have shareholders fund in excess of 100 billion naira today in that company. And don't you think for one moment that Coscharis is in these stories alone. This story is being replicated all over this country. But it requires some discipline and willing to pay price. Because we knew today Aliko Dangote is one of the richest African and is cracking counting number in the world. 2 years ago, November 2000, the Forbes carried me in their first page, 200 naira to $500 million. So there's nothing God cannot do. Now, I've thought about integrity. I've always, because of my integrity, I believe in it. When I hire a banker to come and work for me, somebody who has worked in a bank as AGM, exchange rate dropped from 20 naira to 80 naira, and we had a payment that we will make on the 30th of that month. If we make that payment, we will take 100 million naira head cut. He told me we should call our supplier and explain to him that this is temporary, that nothing didn't happen. Nobody. I said, look, this man did not do business with federal government of Nigeria. Our payment date is 30th of the month and we must pay. You pay. He said, oh God, what am I? I say, you pay. We paid that money on exchange rate loss was 100 million naira. This was about 10 years or 15 years ago. He told me he's shocked. He was a banker and he could not believe that things like this is possible. But that's the magic that I used. It's not the capital I have, but people can trust me with things. Today, whether it is BMW, whether it is Rolls-Royce, whether it is Ford of United States, every of my supplier work with me on open account. Some of them 180 days payment terms, some 270 days payment terms. So people think I have unprecedented capital because people could trust things on me. Part of my goal, ambition, is to borrow in Nigerian banks on a negative pledge. Do you understand what negative pledge is? Negative pledge means I am taking money from you and I'm not going to pledge anything to you because I did not pledge to anybody. And if you need your money tomorrow, I give you. One man that came from village that cannot put his tenses together, I didn't pick it in the street. It's a dream. It's part of my goal that I plan to have in life. And when I saw the opportunity, when I sold some of my shares in the bank at a time, I went to pay every bank, whatever I collected, all those collateral, my great-grandfather and my mother, I collected all of them back from them. And I said, if you want to trade with me today, it's negative pledge. It's not a story. I tell you today, all the banks in Nigeria, without exception, borrow us money on a negative pledge. We worked for it. We didn't pick it on the street. When Gbinije was the managing director of Zenith Bank, he talked to me the way I didn't write. I wrote him one check and paid him every morning. He came to my office, then I was in Maza and said, no, this has never happened. I said, that's the way I behave. Japanese trained me, if you get Japanese offended, if they go on strike, they will overproduce. They will produce more goods than you can sell. Not Nigeria, their own work. Not that they're down tools, they won't work again. If they are angry with you, if you tell them to produce 500, they will produce 800. That's a sign to tell you that they are not happy with you. It's not that they will not work. That's why you never hear that there's a strike one day in Japan till today. If they go on strike, their strike is that they will overproduce. So Gbinije said, what did I said, that's the way I behave. I didn't ask you, you overcharge me interest, I paid you your money, keep your bank. I don't need your money. He came and actually begged me to start borrowing from Zenith Bank again. And I told him, I said, after I pay you, if you overcharge me, I won't tell you you overcharge me before I pay you. So I pride myself. I said, I am a man of integrity. I am so sure and confident. Because everything you claim, God is going to subject it to test. Until 2011, a kid brother from my state, from my town, called me one day in my office and told me he has a problem. I wanted to know what the problem was. He told me, the thing, I knew our people, many of them overtrade. That's what I know. Many of my people overtrade. That means they mismatch fund. They take a short-term fund and apply it on a long-term project. So he built tank farm and many big projects. So I felt that was his issue. So I said, are you ready now to be disciplined? He told me that he has finished, that he needed just money to trade. So what was it? He needed money to import PPMC. One invoice is about $48 million. I went to the bank. The bank said, shut up, that they won't want to deal with this guy. I said, for what? My people don't steal. We have a welfare system from where I came from. I said, we don't steal. If we owe you, we sell everything we have to pay you. That's the way we behave. So give him loan. I said, put it in my account. I asked him, when are you going to clean it up? He said 70 days. Actually, 62 days he paid it. And he goaded me. We did these 6 documents under 6 months, about $180 million. By December of 2011, he brought about 6 documents, totaling about $180 million. And I opened the LC. By January, we waited for the consignment. It didn't come. February, it didn't come. March, it was unusual. I asked him. He started speaking in tongue. And before you know it, I have 21 billion naira debt crystallized in my account. Interest is accruing 310 million every month. That's what it comes to. It's like a man breathing to death. If you don't stop it, you can die, because that breed can get to any level. And I never signed any paper to get this loan. So this is a time of test. I actually told the bank that this is for this guy's transaction, and they knew. And my board met and said we cannot jeopardize Charis because of this. That, we didn't keep 21 billion anywhere. The bank should understand. Everybody said, I will not sign that paper. The bank wanted me to sign when they knew there was a problem. Everybody said, I will not sign. I said, okay. The people left. I prayed about it. It was heavy on me. But I said, if I don't do this, can I still stand up and testify? Why is God taking me through this? I do not know. I didn't know where I'm going to get that money because I didn't plan for it. But I asked the bank to send me the paper without consulting to anybody, and I signed it. When I get home that day, I jump up. Woo! I won. I won. I won. My wife think, this is my thing. They say, what did you win? I said, I won. I won. I won. My wife said, you won? I said, yes. So what did I say? I signed that paper. You signed? I said, I signed. He said, you signed? I said, I signed. What do you do? I signed. So that become my obligation. If I tell you how I was able to pay that money, I did not know. I paid that money to the bank to keep my head high. I took that court painful. This happened in 2012. I repaid the money. The transaction started in 2011. I didn't get any money back because I took the guy to court, went to, tried to garnish everything he had, went to UK, sue him because in different things I followed the constitutional right. It was only on 2015 that I got 16 billion naira back from AMCON. That is a place of integrity. You cannot compromise integrity. I was tempted to fail. And that was one of the greatest trial of my life. And by the grace of God, I stand my head high to say, I overcame it. It's not because I have too much money, because desire for have causes by having. The more money you have, the more you desire to have. You get more problems even when you have more money. Actually, don't play to have money if you don't have the Holy Spirit, because it's the easiest way for you to be destroyed. You need to be sure God is looking for a man or woman that he can trust. The promise of blessing is in God's hand. But are we willing to break our human spirit that God will take absolute control of us, that our ambition and goal is for the sake of the kingdom of God? You can never say what your limit will be. I want to conclude. One of them, your duty to God is to live right. Your duty to yourself, second thing, is to think right. If you think right and live right, you will end up right. If you think you can sneak on God and fool people, God will disgrace you publicly and you will not go far. I'm talking about creating wealth. People thought that because you bought Mercedes means you get money. That's not wealth. And that's why you see some people, once they buy Mercedes, they take Koboko and look for somebody to flog because they have money to buy Mercedes. You can create wealth. That's your position. If you understand basic laws of God, which I'm going to give you another 3 of them, don't condemn, don't criticize, and don't complain. If you see God blessing somebody, you don't know anything about it, keep your mouth shut. Listen to James. You know the power of Proverbs 18:20. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Many of us talk. James says your Christianity to God is a counterfeit if you cannot bridle your tongue. It's small, but it can set a house on fire. The same way it can bless. So don't condemn. Don't complain. Because they complain, they murmured, and God, 3,000 of them died one day. And don't criticize. Because when you do those things, you are not harming somebody else, you are harming yourself. Things you don't know anything about it, keep quiet about it. Don't say anything about it. Play a novice. You don't know. There's no big deal about it. But I see people discussing subject they have no knowledge about, and they discuss it like they are authority. And this is something about somebody. You are weakening yourself. This earth is operated by law. In a seed, there is a tree. But if you take a seed and put it in alcohol, you circumvent the system of what it is, because seed is not made for alcohol. If you take a seed and keep it in the altar, and all of us are praying, this seed must grow. God, we're asking you, it must grow. We can pray for 1,000 years, it will not grow. There is a perpetual law God made. If you take a seed and put it on the ground, the law of sowing and reaping will come into effect if there is moisture, and that seed will germinate. Even concrete cannot stand in the way of that tree. If the concrete comes, that seed will look for another root and go out and germinate, because there is an inherent life in that seed. But as long as you kept that seed for 1,000 years, perpetually there is a life inside that seed. But that life needed to manifest until it gets to the ground. Church, the end is not justified by the means. That's why Joshua chapter 1 verse 8 says, and ye shall have good success. He qualifies it. If I come to your vineyard and stole your yam, and I go and plant it in the law, in the sand, in the belly of the earth, the law of sowing and reap will come up. That yam will reproduce. In fact, I can get a double yam that is bigger. I have gotten result, but I am a thief. Because of the result I got does not justify that God has blessed me. God, I have gotten a blessing, but I am a thief. If your wife is not married and I am a rascal and I fool around with her, she may have twins, 2 baby boys, but I am an adulterer and your wife is an adulteress. We've committed evil. Result is not what sanctified it. The blue sky is not an evidence that God with you, neither the dark weather. You must live by the principle of God. And enduring success is not a product of chance. It's characterized by a well thought out. You need to base on the principle of the word of God, so that things will come and check it and it will stand the test of the time. God bless you. You can begin to ask me your questions.
Church, let's stand up and applaud. It has been a wonderful, wonderful time. Let's put our hands together. Let's put our hands together. Put your hands together. Hallelujah. Thank you very, very much, sir. You may have your seats. If you have questions that you think you may not be able to put together, write it down quickly now, because Dr. Cosmos has to leave this place in the next 30 minutes. He has a flight to catch. Like I told you, he's going back to Zimbabwe tomorrow. So if you have a question, you're going to come to the mic. I'll stand with you. It must be very, very brief. If you know you can't articulate the question, write it down. Like you know, we have a panel of business people. They're still going to be with us for the second part of this session. And so they can answer some of the questions. But I know, I had written down series of questions, but he has answered all of them. So there's no need for me to ask it again, because he has spoken from the depth of his heart. So if you have a question, write it down and just give it to our ushers. But if you want to run to the mic, run to the mic. Your question will be for just 30 seconds, because we have to get him back to the airport almost immediately. So if you have a question, you can run to the mic right now. Or if you want to write it down and bring it to the front. You have a question?
I think he has a question.
Yes. Namdi, come.
So I'm trying to run a business in Canada, and my biggest problem is getting an investor, because the app currently costs about $120,000, and they said that I need a prototype to be able to approach anyone, even without making the app. So right now I'm confused. I don't even know who to talk to or where to go.
I can answer that question in two ways. Many times, investors do not want to give you money because they haven't seen what you produce. And anybody can come out and claim he has a good idea, things that will be worth a money. A real good investor will not give you money. So what I do ask people to do, in all honesty, is that if you have idea, just understand that Rome was not built in a day, but a brick was laid every day, unconsciously, before it became what it is. You can take a job. Work in the job where you are. Don't be in a hurry, because you can never go ahead of God, neither can you be too late. Take a job, be faithful in that job. If you read stories of certain people, somebody like Steve Jobs, you know, he was working for HP. But different peoples develop their God-given talent until their people say, we don't want you. They will be the people that pushed you away. And as they are pushing you away, they are putting you in the right place where you are supposed to be. If Joseph brothers them never throw him into the dish, the merchants will not have seen him to take him to where he's going. When people throw you in a dish by the gift you have, they are only fast-tracking where you are going. They said it unconsciously. Let us help this guy for this vision to be fulfilled. But they were actually prophesying. So I will encourage you, take a job if you don't have anybody. But if you have small capital, start something a little. Be able to come to somebody. Listen, I am also an investor. If you come to me today and show me the things we are doing, and let me see, oh, last 2 years, you started this with 50,000, now it's 300,000, and you wanted to grow it to another $5 million, and that you are looking for investment of 500,000. I will tell you, send me your book. I want to look at it. Because you don't build reputation by what you are going to do. You build reputation by the things you're already doing or what you have done. So nobody will give you money because you have an idea. That person must have stolen the money. A real business people want to be sure that they are investing this money where return will come. That's where many young people make mistake. And I tell a lot of them, I went to a meeting one time, I said, you can start a business with 10,000. I said, nonsense. I said, you can even start business today with 2,000 naira. He said, by how? Let us know by how. I said, okay, sit down. I said, how much is scissors? Because they have an idea, their business, they want to be Costaris the day they were born. You didn't hear all the story I told you, the route I go. That's why you see some of these children, by their parents, they get to 10th floor by a elevator. They didn't know where the staircase is. When they are falling, they will fall with their head broken. Because if you go through staircase, you know that it is painful and you grow muscle. But if an elevator take you to that 10th floor, you are there speaking rubbish because you didn't know how you get there. So, what I'm trying to say is that, I say, how much is scissors? How much is razor blade? You can start being a barber. Go and learn how to cut hair. Because you are going to write a history, a story that will amaze people. Learn how to cut hair and cut it very well. You don't need a shop. Go to Aspanda. Go to where people are in crowd and tell people I cut your hair. They will not say, I do it free. These are the people I cut their hair. You cut it, you massage it, you touch it. Before you know it, 5 people are lining up for you to cut their hair. And at that day, you may go home with 5,000 naira or 10. Don't just use that money to go and buy mortars. Because you are building a step to progressive activity. You save the money. You start cutting here. When you make enough money, you can get a shop. But you still go outside to do it. From there, you move to another thing. When you are writing your history, they say, is that boy that used to cut here? But you know where you are going because you are building capital to take you to your destination. In fact, in the process of the way you are cutting here, one person you are cutting here can see you and just discover. He can get a witness there's something about you, and he tell you, can we partner on this? I have an idea what to do so we can keep a proper salon. That's how success comes. You don't just come out of school and say, I have an idea. I need 10 million naira. I need 100. Then I will do this. Well, you can be lucky and somebody will give it to you. But I believe this is what I know that I'm telling you. We have a church in Nne. We're not a church, one temple, a Japanese temple. They call it Nanamyoholonkokyo. The Japanese. So one of my village brother went there and called the temple. Said they meet the priest. And said, what can we do to get money? The Japanese Buddha, the temple said, work hard. He was very disappointed. Okay, God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Imam. My question is simple. I know one of the characteristics of a developing country is corruption as in terms of getting your way to do business.
Yes.
So I actually want to know through your stories and the success you've achieved so far, how you were able to go through, because in your area of business there are regulators, how you were able to manage regulatory authorities.
Sure. It has not been easy. There's no need for me to fool you. But the more you grow, you build capacity, you have address, you can take challenges and you can take people on. But standing in the initial stage was difficult. And I can explain to you. You have a consignment in the port. You are willing to pay the correct duty. A custom officer who wants to extort money from you, maybe you imported piston ring, hot motor, which is tariff heading is 87012. He will take you to another tariff heading with the ring that they put in somebody's hand and tell you that you are going to pay 50% duty because whereas what you imported require 10% duty. You say you are not going to pay. That's not the tariff heading. He's not losing anything. He sits on his leg and close his leg. The demurrage is counting. You have borrowed money from bank, interest rate is counting. You want to petition to Abuja, you come to Abuja 2 months, you have not gotten result. And the man wanted only 500,000 from you. When an armed robber meets you and put a gun in your head and say your life or your money, do you bribe him when you give him money? So when I meet situations like that, I give the guy the money, but let him know, because corruption is when I'm giving you money to influence you to do what is wrong. But when you rob me at a gunpoint, I didn't steal and I didn't do anything wrong, because they are two different things. Many people don't agree with me, but that's my belief.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. My question is, okay, my background, I'm someone who, I run a consultancy business. though I had to attend this meeting because I was supposed to travel when I saw the publicity. I have interest in the auto industry and I've read a lot about it. Right now I'm into business consulting. I was in a job, but I had to quit to start this business. And God has been helping me. And God has been faithful because...
Ask your question, please.
Yeah.
Just ask your question.
Okay. So my question actually, you talked a lot about mentorship.
Sure.
So I actually know from my experiences running the business that in spite of the success, I know there are areas we could have done better.
Sure.
So I really need mentorship, and I don't know how I can get that from you. That is the linkage I want.
It's not a big problem. If you like, I'll give you my PA's number. This thing I'm doing, I do them with happiness. I do them in this country, different places in the world. Today, my greatest central commodity is time. You know, I asked somebody one day, what do you really think why do you want to enter into business? I said, so that by 4 o'clock I go home, I own my own business. I said, you better go become a teacher. That school closes by 4. So by 5 o'clock you are home, you are sleeping. I still don't leave my office till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. today on my honor. And it's not that I am busy. Time is not available. I go to different places and speak, and you know, like I'm rushing myself. If I want to give a real teaching on how to start and develop business, putting my experience and what I know, it will take me at least 3 hours, frankly. I'm not a good teacher, so I wasn't brought up through school. You know, I juggled the thing up and down. But by the time I left, you will have a clear thought what I meant. So time is not on my favor to tell you. So, but I'll give you my PA number. You contact him and you see different places I've gone to speak, and then we can connect and you hear me more often. But what I can tell you is that there are principles you must follow. Principle is fundamental law. God did not make this life to be haphazardly. Actually, if you know the law that controls things, there's no level to success you cannot go. You know, the Wright brothers, 2 young people, God gave them a revelation on how to build aircraft. Before then, no aircraft has been built. And people did not believe. How do you think about 747? Think about this big, gigantic A380 that carried over 1,000 people with luggage. That thing would take off and go to the air. But it was based on 4 laws. 4 laws that they understood that will make this thing go up to the air. It's a revelation. When we say God can give you gifts, God can reveal things to you that nobody knows, that you can take it on and money will follow you. Because once you provide solution to people, you don't look for money. Look at people like me who didn't go to school. Today I have 4 doctorate degrees. Doctor is following me. Everywhere people are batching me doctor. And some of you are struggling to get doctor because the result I have had made doctors to follow me. Some of them I say I don't want. Almost every year I have somebody calling me or one or the other. I reject them because I only accept it on institutions that I wanted. And it didn't mean anything to me, even though I am grateful to those who gave it to me. But the knowledge God can give you, there's no level where you cannot go if you follow the principle of his word. I didn't touch some of them, but let me drop this because it came in my mind. There's a young man in Abuja here, a businessman. I didn't know this guy, but he followed everywhere I've gone to go make teachings. He followed me and always fond of me. And I was worried, what is this? One day, I was coming out of Nikon Hotel. He grabbed me. And I was talking, he knelt down. I said, what is it? He said, I should just pray for him. I should please lay hands on him. I said, no, let's get to it. I said, no, don't need to go to the corner. I should do it here. In the hotel. I felt a little bit embarrassed. At the time, I said, well, Lord, as I raised my hand and prayed, I felt somebody put hand on my pocket. I jumped and held his hand. And I noticed he stuffed 50,000 naira in my pocket. I said, I can't take money for. He said, I must, please. Please. that he see me as a prince of God. I should take it. If I shouldn't, we struggle. I start getting embarrassed. I left him. But I know where he's coming from because I'm a Christian. He understands some basic principle that works. It wasn't long we developed friendship. We become friends, because of that encounter we talk. One day he called me and told me, there was somebody who used to help him, but that person died. Now he got a contract from Julius Berger to supply diesel. He doesn't have the money. I said, okay, can you please send me your account? On the phone, he sent me his account. I didn't ask him to write any documents. He told me later that when he saw the alert, his phone fell off his hand. I wired 120 million naira into his account. He has returned that money for me after 2 years. But that young man is a billionaire today. So, this thing we're talking, it doesn't take rocket science. It creates supposedly risk for you. But you need to understand these laws that are buried in the Word of God. If you obey them and follow it religiously, it produces results. It's not my power. It's not your power. If you obey the laws of God and understand it. So, what did the Wright brothers did? There is 4 laws that control the aircraft. And what do they call them? The first law is a law of trust that will make the airplane to go forward. He need to do something to counter it. The second law is law of gravity. What goes up must come down. The third law is the law of lift that will pull the aircraft up. And then the fourth law is the law of thrust that will stabilize the airplane. When the airplane is about to leave, that's when all the forces on it. That airplane need to break that law of gravity because as it's moving, there's a force pulling it down. They built what they call aerodynamic into the system to push. That's why your plane taking off, it tells you to be careful. Plane crashes only taking off and landing. But once it moves up on the air, it flies on its own. So study the laws and means study your Bible because the thoughts of God are the laws of God. Follow the principles that are there. There's no limit to where you cannot go. And let nobody talk down on you. Believe in your vision and walk by it. You will write your success story. If you are cleaning shoe, by starting from cleaning shoe, you become a billionaire. God bless you.
Okay, I'll just read these 2 questions before I'll read the 2 of them together. At what point in our business should we partner with investors? And number 2, how do we deal with credit?
Come in again.
At what point in your business do you partner with investors? And number 2, how do we deal with credit? I believe foreign money.
I've said that already, but go ahead. At the point you partner with investor is at the point where you know your capital require additional funding. But an investor won't put money with you if he doesn't know what you are doing, that it's going to bring him return on investment.
Thank you very much, sir. So when you were giving your testimony of how you got successful in life, some of it align with what I've passed through. So you made mention about when you were doing business and a goods you didn't have, and you run into your neighbor's shop and tell the neighbor to give you that stuff, and you added additional profit on it. Yeah. So I want to ask, because I've gone into such business whereby most of the customer got to know that I added profit on it, and when they comes back, they don't want to do business with me again. So also I want to ask, other excessive profit, is it a sin?
No, I don't know what you call excessive profit because there's nothing like excessive loss. I don't want to give you testimony that will blow you. I bought a share in a bank in Nigeria for 2 billion naira. I kept it for some years. That share went wrong. The people in my board laughed at me and told me that I can never get anything. I said, listen to me. I'm going to sell this share. The least I will sell it is 5 billion naira. And if it doesn't happen, don't believe me anymore. Central Bank has closed the board of that bank. That share worth something. At the time, the board made the decision that we should offer it to somebody at 2 naira to buy per unit. And I refuse. You see, I don't understand excess profit. I was in my shop one day, in my office, and a phone call by 9 o'clock, a managing director of one bank, said he understood that this share is up for sale. I said, Well, it depends. He said, how much is it? I said, 5 naira. He said, why do you 5 naira? That somebody told me it was being offered 2 naira. And I said, did I call you? Talk to that person that told you it's 2 naira. If you want to buy it, the price is 5 naira. He said, can I pay 3 naira 50 kobo? I said, we are not selling potato. I told you the price. If you want, you buy. He dropped his phone. Church, listen to me. Many of you, I don't want to say things that will make you think I am extraordinary. But you don't get, if you also want to get results, you have to be extraordinary. This guy that is talking to you, I didn't go to school, but I understand some basic law. I have 4 boys. I insisted they would do their first degree in Nigeria. I didn't allow any of them to travel. In fact, with my daughter, who has American passport, 3 of them has American passport. She's a medical doctor. I say, you do first degree here. I made my daughter jump Okada to go to Unilag. My 4 sons went to Unilag and nobody went. I said, you won't drive car until you finish your first degree. It's not common, but that's my wife will tell me, why are you punishing these children? I say, oh, the thing we go through that make us succeed is a punishment for our children. Jesus Christ, the Bible says, learn obedience through the things he suffered. The Son of God who could have gotten everything. I'll tell you some other thing that will shock you. I trained 5 kids without television in my house. Up to today, I don't have TV. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch Nigerian movies. I don't have any cable TV. Am I mad? No. I come back by 11 or 12 o'clock in the night to have fellowship with my wife. Some other person will be interjecting, will be telling us what to do. Then I will leave my wife and will be listening to that man. When he finishes, we sleep. The next day we start fighting, quarreling with each other. So I don't have enough time. I needed time to read books, to read my Bible, to fellowship with my family. And TV for me was a distraction, so I break them. I had it before. I break it, I don't have it. There are a number of days I fast in a week, and in a month, and in a year. So there are principles you follow. If you want to be every other person, you can't be different. So if you know you are different, live like a different person, but don't make it a doctrine that everybody will live that way. So one day, I conclude this now. Another person called me in the afternoon and tell me that he learned that share was for sale. I said yes. He asked me the price. I said it's 7 naira. He said, can he pay 5 naira? I said no. The price is 7 naira. He dropped. By 2 o'clock, that same first person that called me again. The person that I told 5 naira, that up price 350. He said, okay, he wants to come in the evening with their company secretary and with his, he's the managing director of the bank himself and 2 of his board to conclude the transaction. I said, price has changed. You don't know where I'm coming from. There are things I can't tell you here, but I understand by law. And I knew that gear has entered. So I was in charge. I've been in control. He said, what do I mean? I said, the price now is 8 naira. He said, am I crazy? That he hasn't even agreed the 5 naira. I said, please drop the phone. It's okay. He will still come. I said, please come. If you agree to come, we will talk. That my managing director that laughed at me, I told him to come. And I want him to keep quiet and listen to what is happening. And the 4 of them came, and they started talking. He said, okay, they want to conclude that I said 5 naira, but he's trying to talk to his board, and if I do it 350, but now that they agreed to pay 5. I said, I told you that the price has changed, that the price is 8 naira. Honestly speaking, I won't sell it anything below 8 naira per unit. As we are talking, my phone rang. It was the other person that was calling me. I put it on conference. I opened it up to a photo. He said he's on his way to my house. I said, please don't come. He said, no. He's coming. He wants to conclude that share. I said, there's no need for you to come because I want to tell you honestly that I haven't said this before, but there are people I'm talking with and I am near. He said, no. So as we are discussing, he said, Cosmas, has 1 billion naira didn't mean anything to you? I said, what do you mean? He said, I will pay you 8 naira for that share. I put the phone off. It's not a movie. because Josiah Samuel is alive. You can ask him. The man said, hey, what do I mean? I said, the price has changed. The price is 8 naira. The man talked to, I said, if you are a managing director of a bank, I am a managing director of Coscharis, will you walk away from 1 billion naira? How will your board look at you? We concluded that transaction, wrote agreement by 12 o'clock. The following day, I was paid 14 billion naira. This is the share I was supposed to say to me. So I don't understand the excess profit.
Praise the Lord. So as you grow in business, it becomes extremely difficult to balance business and family. How have you been able to balance the two?
I will be honest to you to say I haven't done too well. I admit, frankly, I fell because something must give way. My wife and I agree, because my wife was also my partner, that we needed to get much more closer with our children. Anyhow, the only relationship I have with them is that I do my night devotion and morning devotion. But I travel very often. So the kind of bonding I have with my children, they see me like somebody who visits home. So, you know, it's not the best. I am running behind. I admit it to myself that this is not really what I want. 3 of them are already in the business, okay? But you could still see that I see some family, I got jealous, but I'm still happy that all my children are living in Nigeria and they are not ready to go anywhere, because I built them to have stayed here and they are used to the system. They're all with me. But I didn't balance it well. If I have to redo it all over again, I would have loved to take less money and keep my family more closer than I could have done.
Church, let's put our hands together. Please rise to your feet and applaud. Rise to your feet and applaud. Thank you very, very much, sir. And I'm sure we will invite you again and again, because we love hearing the truth. Put your hands together. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Like I said, he has to catch a flight, so we need to stop the questions at this time. I'll speak to him. I have the number of his PA. So maybe after the service, if you want that number, I'll confirm from him, and I'll be able to give you his PA's number with regard to the question about mentorship. You may have your seats, please. Wasn't that a wonderful time? I am sure that if you're like me, if he wanted to go on for 6 hours, would have just told him to go on. We give God all the praise. I have learned a lot. How many of us, those that are in the skill acquisition class, you were here on, was it Tuesday or Monday? Was it any different from what I told you? Okay, thank God. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word is confirmed. Okay, we're going to go into the next session immediately. We have some powerful people with us. They're business people, just like Dr. Cosmos. One thing I don't do, because I noticed it on time. You know, there are some people that they call consultants. You know, I don't know how many of you listen to some radio programs. Some people come on radio and they tell you text whatever. And then the next day you come, they'll teach you how to grow business and blah, blah, blah. One day I told myself, I need to find out what these people do. So I called them or I sent a text. Please, what business do you do? Where is your business address, or where is your business office, so that I can, you know, they cut the line. Because they don't do any business. They just go read one book and then call people and tell themselves that they are consultants. And then somebody is selling akara. You want to come and consult to me how to sell akara when you have never sold akara before. And so these ladies and gentlemen, they are in the business. The second session is going to take this form. They are a panel of discussants. They are going to take a few minutes, tell us what they do, their expertise, and then the floor will be open for you to ask any number of questions you want to ask. They are well-seasoned. Kingsley, can you help get the chairs on the altar? They are seasoned professionals in their own right, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy their session just like you had enjoyed the first session. But as we prepare for that session, if you look to my right, to your left of the auditorium, about 2 weeks ago, we started a skills acquisition training, and we got, I think as at yesterday or 2 days ago, the total number that were being trained, I think is 640. So in the last 2 weeks, we've trained about 640 in different crafts. They were trained on hat making, on fascinators, they were trained in catering, they were trained in tailoring, they were trained in production of soaps and chemicals and all that. And most of them are here in this auditorium this morning. Some of them are civil servants, some of them are retirees, and it is what they learned in less than 2 weeks. In fact, the Hats and Fascinators group, by the second day, they were already making hats, and some of them were already selling. We've brought some of their products for you to see. There's a pair of shoes in front I saw. You may not be able to see clearly from here, but one of the students made this pair of shoes after just about 2 weeks of training. All these hats, all these shoes were made after just about 2 weeks of training. The other table there shows chemicals, soaps, paint. I think they learned how to make deodorants and all that. And so we brought them out so that you can see. If you want to partner with them to take their business to another level, because I know they are business moguls, you may just want to find someone to invest in to take their business to the next level. Also, if you want to buy any of their stuff, they are all in the house. Just after the meeting, you can go around the table, see the things that you like, and get their contacts, and they'll be willing to make something for you. Also, the panelists and the main speaker. The main speaker came with some of his books. Please help me bring... There's a book on my stool there. There's a book on the Kostari story. Virtually everything he spoke about this morning is inside this book. Everything that happened in his life, how he started, how his uncle gave him that 200 naira is inside this book. The title of the book is From Trials to Triumphs, the Kostari story. It's out there. I must tell you now. Okay, let me keep it till the end. Well, something else will happen. So I'll keep that information to the end. I'll tell you at the end. Let me not say it now. But the books are available, and they are 1,500 naira each. So after the second session, they're outside. Also, each of the panelists, they'll tell us what they do so that I don't waste time reading out their profiles. They'll tell us what they do in about 5 minutes. They all have their stands outside. And so if you want to get more information from them, you just go to their stand outside. For example, the first lady sitting to my left, Mrs. Hansatu Adegbite. She's the executive director of Wimbees. I know most of us have heard of Wimbees. There are a lot of women. There's a higher population of women that did this. And I'm sure some of them want to know, how do we take this to the next level? How do we partner with you, or how do they go about getting credit and all that? And so she's here, and she will tell us that she also has a table outside. So with a good God bless you, let's welcome our panelists as they come to take their seats on the altar. Church, let's put our hands together for them. Ola, can you get each of them a mic, please? Your mic's there. Okay. Put your hands together until they get to their seats. Okay, one more.